All right, we're back with another episode of Black Brands Matter. You know, we like to feature people like me who are out here making a killing and making moves in the culture. I'm with Ramon Sloan from Swift Motion Pictures. Now, you know, you're from Milwaukee, and a lot of people watching, like I told you before we started, are from a small town or even a big city in between here in New York who think that getting in the industry is impossible. You chose film. How did you believe that you can jump right in the game from Milwaukee?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, it was a tough thing, but I started writing books, and I'm one of them people, man, Jason. I think I can do anything. I ain't trying to be cocky or nothing. I'm just being real, man. So what I did was I just figured out a way to learn the process of filmmaking, through just jumping right in. I had a friend who, was an author as well. And, he kind of, guided me, through the first process of making Circumstances One. And I mean, it was one of them things where initially I didn't know how it was gonna go. It was just like, okay, you just like when you started your situation, when you do something, you just dive into it and you learn, you get better. I didn't know what was gonna be the outcome of the movie. Like when I first did it, I didn't even know if, I was gonna be able to get distribution for my first movie, but I did. And then, I just constantly, you keep building it and you get confident in it.
So you were an author. So you wrote the book Circumstances. There's 1, 2, and 3.
No, it's I'm sorry. Circumstances. The Circumstances series is based on a book series that I wrote called Motivation.
Okay, so the Circumstances is based on the book that you wrote. So you started as an author?
Yes, I did.
And then when you were author, because a lot of people, like even me, when I started my company, we started around the same time, 2015. When you start your business, you have all these ideas of what you want to do. Oh, because it sounds like you're like me, a jack of all trades. You can do it all, but when you start, you got to start somewhere. Was being an author and just kind of writing out your ideas the beginning of your vision for your career, or did you know that you were going to evolve into film?
Well, when I wrote my first book, Motivation One, I wrote it, and as I was writing it, I told myself there's gonna be a movie one day. And I mean, I went around with the script. Once I got the script for the movie written, went around trying to see if I could get people to fund the project. Of course, they told me go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Who are you? You ain't never made a movie before. I just had an idea. So that's kind of how that went.
And then, so once you did the first book, and then you turned that into your first movie, was that then like the proof of concept to you that this is kind of my model? I'm going to write, and then I'm going to create and continue to expand the brand.
Exactly. Circumstances One was it gave me an idea of what I should be doing, right? And as I began to kind of watch, other films being made, and I became more hands-on with it. By the time I did part 2, I was confident that I knew what I was doing at that point.
Well, because you had learned through the mistakes. Because the first one, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Did you learn? What lessons did you learn in the first one?
Well, Circumstances One, we shot that with one camera. We had a red cam. We shot it with one.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have audio.
Wait, you didn't have audio? Was it on the camera?
Yeah, it was on the camera. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a really high quality home video movie.
Well, I wouldn't say home video. It was the movie came out great.
Okay.
But we didn't have, because even the guys who I was shooting with, they didn't have they didn't have a lot of experience shooting movies yet. We all was like in the beginning of it. But the audio was on the camera. We didn't have any lights, so it was a lot of different things that, after I watched it, even it's small stuff. Like if you watch Circumstances One, it's this one particular part when the main guy, Keyshawn, is in the truck and he's talking to Kendra Couture, who played Quisha in the movie, and the window it got all these fingerprints on it, man. Like right now, that bothers me, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know, like, as a creator and a filmmaker, you can see things that the audience probably won't see all the time.
Right.
So it's just little stuff like that. people laughing when they shouldn't be laughing. You know what I'm saying? So,
But the great part is that you did it. You know what I mean? I think for
yeah.
people that are watching, I mean, when you start your creativity, it's not going to be perfected right out the gate, even in your mind if you're a perfectionist, because I think all of us as creators have an idea of what our babies are going to look like,
Right.
I was saying to my team, one time we were in a meeting, when I first started Hollywood Unlocked, I used to have to take shots before I could even talk on camera.
Right.
Because I was just too uncomfortable, like, what do I do? What do I say? Where my hands going to be? But after a while, repetition, it gets perfect. So now by the third movie, did you kind of know that, okay, now I got it?
Oh man, right now I feel like I got a great crew. We got a dope system put in place, and the biggest thing for me that I learned and where I'm at now is I know everybody's job. Mm-hmm. I know what everybody's supposed to be doing, and I didn't know that on Circumstances.
You taught yourself through the process?
Basically, yeah. I mean, I went to film school, in Milwaukee for like a year, and that was pretty much all the hands-on that I had with dealing with, any film. But that was video experience, and throughout me making these movies, it's just as a producer because my strong suit is producing. Of course I can direct, write stuff like that. But my strong suit is producing, putting people together, knowing how to know what everybody else's job is, and that's one of the things, one of the reasons why, I put this course together, which we'll talk about. Yeah. But the biggest thing again is, like I said, is knowing what everybody else is supposed to be doing. Because on part Circumstances 1. I was going around, I'm just asking everybody, what is he supposed to be doing? What is he supposed to be doing? I'm talking to the director. She like, well, just sit down, relax. We'll show you how this go and that go. But it's nothing like, knowing everybody's job, because at that point, it gives you the confidence, and also you can catch the mistakes that they aren't supposed to be making. You know what I mean? If you don't know what's going on, I'm talking about you, and you the executive producer of the project, meaning your money is on the line, right? If your money is on the line and you the executive producer, when everybody else walk away, then it is what it is. They pay. You stuck with this. Right. So I tell people that's the most important part. It's not just about you knowing your position. You need to know your team's position if you the general.
So then after part 1, 2, and 3 of Circumstances, you had another project that then through all those experiences and lessons led you to be nominated for an award.
Okay, well, let's back up for a minute. My apologies. We shot Circumstances 1 and 2. Circumstances 3, we're shooting that this month. We're shooting from the 18th through the 26th of August.
Got it.
We shot another film, Untangled, in May. And that film is in post-production. That'll be done this fall. We'll be dropping it. And prior to that, I shot a documentary, The Rise and Fall of Cuckoo Cow. I shot another.
And that's the one that was nominated, right?
Yes, that was the one that was nominated at the Miami Film, was it the Urban Film Festival in Miami?
Indie Night Film Festival.
Yep, an Indie Night here. That was the documentary that got nominated for an award.
So was that validation for you that you had figured it out? I mean, because I struggle with, do I want an Emmy? Do I not want an Emmy? Do I need to continue to perfect my craft to get that award? Does that award even mean anything? Because sometimes we get into business for different reasons. Some of us get into it for money. Some of us get into it for prestige. Some want the awards. Did the award matter to you?
Well, I mean, I want to say this. It mattered because, it's always good to be appreciated for your work, right? But, it's not like I'm walking around looking for accolades, because number one, I have a family, I got kids, so, I'm a businessman first, right? And I just feel as though, when you get into any kind of business, you got to have a bottom line. I want to create good content, and I want to be able to have a viable business where I can take care of myself. So it's cool to be nominated, but I don't think it's the all be all, because I'm gonna say this, and I'm pretty sure you can attest to this. I think it's a lot of dope stuff out there that didn't get nominated for things that it should have gotten nominated for, right? That's why I don't, a lot of people
Yeah, I just saw Angela Bassett the other day at my house. We were watching Waiting to Exhale, and then we were kind of watching that scene when she burned up his clothes, and then we were thinking about her movie depicting Tina Turner. She never got an Oscar. Just like, does she quit acting and quit being one of the greatest actresses we've ever known, or does she keep doing what she loves to do? You know?
Yeah, I feel you. Exactly. It's one of those things where it's all about what are you in it for. Like, you know, sometimes I talk to people and I ask them, one of the first things I want to ask somebody, you know, if they come work for me is like, what is your goal? You know, like I ask my associate producers this, like, what are you trying to do? You know, because that's going to give you an idea of what this person is on. I mean, do they just want a job? Are they trying to grow in this business? You know, and I asked them that so I know how I can help them. Because my thing is being able to help everybody evolve into being the best person they can be when they're around me.
See, and this is great because the one reason why we started these series and talking to entrepreneurs, specifically entrepreneurs of color, is that I feel like when I got in the game as a young man of color, well, I wasn't young, but you know, as a man of color, there wasn't a lot of resources that told me this is how you raise money, this is how you structure your content, this is how you archive, this is how you label, this is how you protect your trademarking. So over time, what I've learned is, okay, I got into this as my passion, building content, but now my purpose is to educate. And what I love about what you're saying is you're mentoring people not only on the side, but you've also launched the e-course that's coming out, right? Mm-hmm. And the e-course, let me get it right, Swift Motion Pictures Movie Mastery Course. So you're taking the game and you're giving it to people or making it available for people to learn so that way they can get in the game or in your lane and share a space with you and you know, come right in and learn all the mistakes or lessons that you've learned in a way that guides them without having to go through the same pitfalls.
Definitely, man. You know, I'm gonna tell you, I'm like, I was so excited, man, to put this together. Right? It took us about 8 months. You know, my developers and people that helped create the funnel for it and everything. And you know, once it was done, you know, I'm real excited about it because, you know, I get a lot of these questions from people. I was getting a lot of questions from people who would ask me, like, how do you shoot a movie? You know, how do you direct? Especially a lot of authors, because, you know, I know a lot of authors from when I was writing books, and then now, you know, I'm starting to, you know a lot of producers and things like that, or people that's trying to produce. And it's good to be able to, you know, provide people with the information that I have so they won't have to make the same mistakes that I did. You know what I mean? Because any person that get this course is like, you're gonna be able to, if you follow what's in there, and also, you know, I'm allowing people to have access to me. It's not like I'm just sitting up saying, here, you know, come get this and, you know, one and done. I want people to win. So my thing is being able to provide one-on-ones for people, being able to have constant support when they start their own projects with me and my crew, if they need a crew to come in and shoot for them, because I know with the first project, you know, they're gonna have the jitters like I did, and being able to have all of that available to them, that way they just make a smooth journey. They have a smooth journey in the process. Is a good process for them, you know. And because the thing about it is, when you're shooting these movies, depending on what that first project end up looking like and how you feel about it at the end will determine if you're gonna continue in that field. You know what I mean?
But you also don't, I mean, if you take this course, you learn the fundamentals and the basics of doing it, right?
Right.
Nowadays, in the digital world, you can create a movie from an iPhone.
Right.
That creativity could be the creativity behind your project. Exactly. You know, and so I think people think, okay, well, I don't have the resources, I don't know anybody, I didn't go to school, I don't have formal education, but they can take these e-courses in the e-book and just have the fundamental basics that we learn. Like when you mentioned going to college and kind of learning the basics, I went to college and learned kind of the basics of journalism, group counseling, interpersonal communication, how to talk to people. Then I left because I wanted to get to work. Mm-hmm. So talk about the people who don't need to go to school necessarily, but can get this course and become educated in this world.
Well, I mean, I guess that would probably be the people who they have an idea and they don't, like, they might just have an idea to where they say, okay, look, I got this dope idea, which a lot of guys come to me with, and I want to shoot a movie, right? Well, what the course will do is it will allow them to say, okay, I have an idea. what's the first process? The first process is getting that idea on paper, meaning getting it in script form. And I'm showing them how you connect with different writers, because a lot of people think it's so expensive to hire these writers to write these scripts, and it's not. It depends on, I guess, financially where you at, right? So the first thing is they're gonna, talk to find someone to put this idea together for them. And then after that, you go through all the rewrites and do that, and then you figure out the budget. You figure out, what does my cast and my crew look like? How much is that gonna be? Locations, the timeline for the movie. How long is it gonna be? What is the storyline gonna look like? Because you don't want a boring story. You want to know when to switch from this part to that part. You want to know when you should be not going too heavy on a certain scene and kind of being redundant, going over things over and over again. And then after that, you get to the process of your post-production. I might be speeding along through some stuff. You go through the post-production process, which is the editing, putting the project together. You got your scoring, your music. Then you got to figure out, what music you might want in it, and product placements. A lot of people don't understand. You can make money off of your movie before the movie is even produced.
And so they learn all this in the course?
Most definitely, and more.
Okay, and so you said that movies are like real estate. What do you mean?
Well, I said that because that's very crazy you remember that. But I say that because, before I made films, I was in real estate. So, I flip properties, landlords, things like that. And the way I look at movies, and people that's in the world of real estate understand this, is that you buy a property, right? You renovate it. Meaning you got to bring carpenters in, you got to bring plumbers in, you got to bring roofers in, you got to bring all these different people in to work on this property to bring it up to par for you to either rent it out or flip it for a profit, right? Well, the same process goes with a movie. You come with a script, right? You got to go get a director. You got to go get a producer. You got to go get a cinematographer. You got to go get audio guy. You got to go get associate producers. You got to find locations. So maybe that's probably why it was so easy for me to figure it out.
Because you just took the same mentality and applied it to a different game.
Exactly. That's all I did. And I'm just gonna be honest, man. Like, my strong suit, how sometimes you gotta understand and know what your strong suit is. My strong suit in life is being able to bring people together and knowing how to move pieces. You know what I mean? So that's probably why, I do so well producing, because you gotta be able to translate things that from other worlds when you're going into a new world, right? And that's just all it is, So I want to be able to show people how to do that very thing. Like, take whatever skills you have and apply them to this, because listen, man, a person might be intimidated when you say a course, or you might say, man, we shooting a movie. But at the end of the day, I was watching something that Ice Cube said, right? And somebody asked him about things being hard, and he said, nothing is hard. And I always remember that. You just have to learn the process of anything that you're doing. I don't care what it is, man. I tell people, don't never let somebody tell you what you can't do, and don't never let somebody tell you what is difficult, or that's just too difficult to pull off. Figure it out.
Right.
Figure it out.
Right. And have good quality work,
Definitely.
and everything's not going to be great out the gate, but I think if you have that drive and that willingness to just be great at whatever you do, you're going to succeed. All right, so how do people access the work of the ebook and the course?
We got them running on both the ebook and the course is running on ClickFunnels through there, but they also have their landing pages. Like I said, you can access the ebook through ClickFunnels. You can access the course through ClickFunnels and a website called Thinkific. That's a software module where people place their e-learning systems or courses or whatnot.
Yeah, so we'll put the website up here below. So what about the people that are watching that may have stories to tell but don't know where to get funding or how to get funding? Do you guys help with that?
Yeah, that's another thing we help with. So it's so many different ways to fund projects, right? Traditionally, people tell you, hey, you pitch it to this company, and or some people that, they give grants for films and things like that. But what I can do is I can show people other ways, like basically utilizing your own credit to do things, right? Or being able to utilize, you know, um, maybe equity that you have in properties, or being able to go to partners and get people to sponsor things, where you're doing bartering things for them, like, it might be a jeweler, right? And he want to be able to get some clients through your films, or it might be a person that has products. If you watch Circumstances 2, there's a clothing line in there called Camera Guy. He's a guy that believes in his brand, and he decided that, I want to be able to invest, in my brand. So he put his money up. It's so many different ways to be able to finance movies if you don't got the money.
And I think you also have talked about the same thing that I've been very passionate about, and that's ownership. Owning your content, being able to own and control your creativity. How important is that, and why is that important?
It's everything, and it's so important because in this world that we in now, as far as the streaming process, you got all these different streamers out here. I mean, and really they changed the game, but prior to them, you had to go through all of these distributors, and you had to go through all the big studios and whatnot to get these movies out. It's very important now, because when you're dealing with your film and you're going through this channel that you're going through now with the distribution, the Tubi TVs, the Amazon Primes, the Voodoos, the IMDb TV, Fandango, and Roku, and there's a host of other ones. It's just pretty much you own all the rights to it, and they allow you to put it on these platforms, and they get a fee, you get a fee. With the AVOD like Tubi, they basically give you a percentage of the ads that people run on there. So when you watch movies on Tubi, they run ads through.
And they handle the distribution.
Yes, they handle the distribution, and they basically give you a percentage of that. That's how you get paid. But to answer your question directly, because I know I was moving around a little bit when I was talking about that, but it's important because you don't have to give up anything now, because think about the future, right? Let's say you stack up 10 movies and you end up earning residuals from these movies. You might look 20 years from now. You're earning all of these residuals from these movies, and you pass away. Your children still own the rights to all of that. They still own all that content, and we got to understand that as the world continues to evolve, today, we didn't have the same things we had 50 years ago. There was no streaming, barely, probably wasn't even cable. You know what I mean? It was strictly, they had other distribution models where people made money. But if you look at it, you look at Scarface, you look at all the old movies from the 40s, the 50s, and 60s, they still out right now, and what they doing is they constantly just revamping these films. They going off the master files, and they constantly putting them out, and that's gonna always happen. People gonna always be at home, and they're gonna always want something to watch. So that's why it's important, because you'll be able to own that, and you'll be able to pass this down to your heirs, and you'll be able to feed them while you're not even here.
See, that's what I love about the course, because it teaches people that, and it helps people understand, like you said, real estate, it gets value over time. It just continues to grow. And licensing, I think people don't understand, like, licensing content. Once you shoot it, you own it, you got it. Like, now you have all this content that people can actually license if they want to put it in a movie, or they want to put it in some other project that they're doing. And I don't get any money out of this. I'm just making sure y'all know where to bring your creativity to life. But thank you so much, man, and good luck with everything.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're out. Peace.